kick it off. Wonderful. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Actually, this afternoon, for the transportation call. My name is Jessica Schweihofer, and I am the senior manager for mission delivery in Michigan. My team, as well as hundreds of amazing volunteers across the state, are responsible for helping patients get to their life-saving treatment. So, for our agenda today, we're going to talk a little bit about what the transportation need is for patients. We're going to talk about how the society is making an impact on that need. We're going to talk about how and where we need to expand our impact. And then we're also going to talk about some of the available resources to really help us expand that. So we have some time allotted at the end for questions, whether you have joined us via Skype, and you can type into the chat box, or you can *6 to unmute your line if you'd like to ask any questions as well. And so without further ado, I am going to pass the baton over to Rachel Cook, who is one of our staff team members, a program manager from Michigan. So Rachel?
Thanks, Jess. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Rachel Cook, and like Jessica said, I am a program manager on our mission delivery team, and I cover the eastern part of the state, which includes southeastern Michigan, and I go all the way up into the Genesee and Lapeer areas. Next slide, please. So just to kind of dive into some of the transportation challenges that patients have, we know that it is essential for patients to start and continue their treatments to give them the best outcome with their treatment plan. And much like an antibiotic, if treatments are not taken as prescribed, it can really affect the effectiveness and the outcome for those patients. And transportation is one of the most cited challenges for cancer patients. And often life-saving treatments, which in some cases are only offered if someone has transportation, they can occur weekly or daily over a course of several months. Some of the radiation patients are going every day for up to 6 weeks, so it can really be a burden for them. And if you've ever faced a cancer diagnosis, you know that patients often do not feel well enough to drive themselves, and so they're left to depend on a family member. And if they don't have a family member nearby, or if a family member can't take them to treatment, they turn to the organizations like the American Cancer Society and programs like Road to Recovery for assistance. Next slide, Jess. So through our traditional Road to Recovery program, we provide patients with transportation to and from their life-saving treatments through the use of our awesome volunteer Road to Recovery drivers. So our volunteer drivers donate their time and use of their personal vehicle, and they use our online matching system called Service Match to pick up the rides that work best for their schedule. So when a patient calls us to request a ride, they give us their dates and times of their appointments. And then our drivers, when they go through the onboarding process, put their information on when they're available, what times, and how far they're willing to drive. And the system very beautifully matches them up, and drivers can go in and look at the ride and then choose to accept or decline it. And they make it really easy for the drivers because drivers can actually set up a profile where they can choose to get a text or an email alert when they have a match in the system, which again makes it really easy for them to accept or decline rides. And Road to Recovery rides do provide life-saving rides for patients, but it's so much more than that. Our volunteers really become surrogate family members for the patients, and they often, patients and drivers form a special bond, and we hear all the time from our volunteer drivers that they feel that they get more out of it than a patient does, and I've heard that numerous times from my drivers. And they also help support delivering life-saving care. So speaking of awesome Road to Recovery drivers, at this time, I'd like to introduce Julie Walsh. Julie has been a driver for Road to Recovery for over 2.5 years in the Lansing area. And since becoming a driver, Julie has provided more than 600 rides to patients. So at this time, please join me in welcoming Julie. Julie, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't unmute me. That was good. Okay, I'm so sorry.
No, that's
Glad
okay.
that it worked. Okay. I've been saying, can you hear me? Can you hear me? And nobody said anything. And I thought, oh boy, I botched it up already. So.
Nope, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Again, my name is Julie Walsh, and I'm a road recovery driver in the Lansing area. It will be 3 years this November that I started this volunteer work. I had recently retired and wanted to do some kind of volunteer work, but wasn't sure what it would be. I just happened to be watching our local TV news one night with my husband, and a story came on explaining the American Cancer Society Road to Recovery program in hopes of getting more people to volunteer. After watching this, I looked at my husband, and he said, "This is what you want to do, isn't it?" And I said, "Yes." I had never heard of this service before, and being a cancer survivor myself, thought how important this job would be with helping those that needed this service. After calling a rep with the American Cancer Society and asking some questions, I took the online program to learn more about road recovery and what to expect and how to deal with certain situations. It was very helpful. With being a driver, you are in control of your own schedule. You receive an online site called Service Match. It lets you log into and see what rides are available, along with times needed and where the location is to the patient's home, along with where to take them for their treatment. When signing up for the program, you have options to let the service know how far you are willing to drive for each ride. Like if you only want to drive a total of 20 miles, you will be asked to drive patients with that distance only. You can also request maybe only drive a certain day of the week. With that said, you have your choice of how many rides you want to sign up for at any time. Sometimes I drive every day in 1 week, if my schedule allows it. I look at the location of the ride and see what the appointment is for. If it's, say, radiation, I know that it's going to be a quick ride. I pick the patient up, take them to their radiation appointment, and stay with the patient. This treatment only takes around 10 minutes, so I just wait and then take them back home. It is only around an hour out of my day, so that is why I sometimes have multiple rides during the week to help out. With chemo patients, it is different. They are usually there all day, so I would take them to their appointment, then drop them off and go back and pick them up after their treatment is complete. That can take 4 to 6 hours later. The driver also has the option of only taking a patient one way to their appointment. Say they can only take them to their 10 o'clock appointment, so they accept this part of the ride. The ride back home will then be posted for another driver to accept on Service Match. We not only take patients to radiation or chemo appointments, they might also need a ride to a doctor appointment or have lab work done. This is a very simple volunteer process with the driver being in control of their own schedule. That is what makes it very work-friendly with each individual's daily routine. Since I became a Road to Recovery driver, I have driven over 600 rides, which each patient I meet is so unique in their own way with many different stories. Because I love meeting each of them, I have made a file with each of their names and a little reminder story about them so I don't ever forget who they were. No matter what their situation is, how sick they are, how sad they are, or how desperate they are to have someone to talk to, I find that they are all very thankful for our service and express this in so many ways during our rides together. I have laughed with patients, cried with patients, listened to their stories, and just been there for them during these past few years. It's the most humbling and rewarding job, and I hope to continue driving these patients for as long as I can. This program is so important to these cancer patients. Having this service eliminates them having to worry about how they will be able to get to their treatments. Many have to go every day and have no one to take them, or they can't drive themselves or a family member to help out with every appointment. This is one less worry for them when they have just received the news that they have cancer. Because I drive some of the same patients throughout their sometimes 6-month or long journey, I have developed many friendships. In fact, my very first ride is a special lady by the name of Arlene, and she is still receiving treatment and only wants me to drive her. So when she calls in her request for a ride, she calls to let me know it was posted. So I look for it on Service Match and pick it up as soon as I see it. We love our time together on these rides. Another lady that I drive during her radiation and chemo treatments asked me if I would be in the picture with her when she rang the bell, letting everyone know she had finished her last treatment and graduated. That was so special to me. My most favorite memory of a patient is a man named Jim. He and I had a special bond. He passed away last fall. I will never forget him. Excuse me. He was an artist with a huge, wonderful heart. He asked me at one point if I did any art, and I said, I just dabble every now and then. During our time together, he brought out the artist in me again, and we ended up exchanging art projects to each other. I was so honored to have met him and have him as my friend. I have many reasons why I love being a road recovery driver and can't stress enough how important this program is. I know we need more drivers, and if by me telling my story to you helps everyone understand our program a little bit more, I hope others will see how important road recovery is, especially how important it is to these patients. But in the end, it's also a life-changing and incredible opportunity to me, the driver, to make a difference in someone else's life by the small act of giving them a ride to their appointment. I have not been driving for about a month now because I just had hip replacement surgery in May. I am doing well and can't wait for the okay from my doctor that I can be back on the road with my road recovery job. This conference call is not the first request I have been asked to share my thoughts and express how important the road recovery program is. I have been interviewed on the local radio and also interviewed and photographed with one of my patients for the local paper regarding this program. I am normally a very shy person and am not comfortable doing things like this, but for some reason I have no problem telling my story in hopes that by chance I can reach others who are looking for a volunteer job, a job that I hope will be as fulfilling and humbling to them as it is to me. I'm done. Hello?
Thank you so much, Julie. I am guessing I'm not the only one with goosebumps. Thank you so much for sharing. And you've got some comments coming in the comment box. It says, oh my goodness, Julie, thank you so much for your volunteerism and for sharing today. Goosebumps, Julie, your heart of service is so beautiful. So thank you so much from all of us here and for the patients that you help for your work with Road to Recovery and all that you do. So thank you, Julie.
Yeah, you're welcome. My pleasure.
At this time, I would like to pass it over to another Mission Delivery Program Manager, Mindy Klein. Mindy, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Take it away.
Well, thank you, Rachel, for the introduction, and thank you to Julie for all that you do. I get the privilege of working with Julie as her staff partner, and it's been a pleasure to do so. The stories that she shares with me about her volunteer experiences warms my heart. As you could probably tell, she is very passionate about the program and is an amazing volunteer. So as Rachel said, my name is Mindy Klein. I am also a program manager, and I cover a 26 county area that includes Mid-Michigan, West Michigan, and Southwest Michigan. Next slide, please. So last year, the Michigan Road to Recovery program provided nearly 1,200 patients with over 15,000 rides to treatment. These rides were provided by 358 volunteer drivers. Although we are incredibly proud of the tremendous impact that we are making, we also know that there is more work to do. In 2018, we had 4,500 rides go unmet due to a lack of volunteer drivers. We need your help to reach more potential volunteers in Michigan. Next slide. So we are often asked where we need drivers, and the answer is that most counties in Michigan have a need. But you can see on this map that there are pockets around the state where there are more rides going unmet than others. The largest groups are in the Southeast and West Michigan areas, where there are a larger number of patients traveling to treatment. The counties with the largest number of unmet rides are Wayne, Oakland, Macomb, Kent, Kalamazoo, and Calhoun. Next slide, please. The Road to Recovery program is a very flexible volunteer opportunity. Although drivers need to have some availability Monday through Friday, they get to choose when they drive, how often they drive, and how far they drive through the use of our service match system. Although many of our volunteers are retired, with today's flexible work schedules, we have more working professionals than ever before, as well as stay-at-home parents, college students, and even teachers in the summer months. The other driver requirements include a good driving record, current valid driver's license, proof of adequate automobile insurance, access to a computer, laptop, or tablet, completion of online training, background and driving record checks, and drivers must also be between the ages of 18 and 84. Next slide, please. If you or someone you know is interested in volunteering for the Road to Recovery program, we recommend visiting cancer.org/drive, where you can learn more and complete an interest form. The volunteer care team will then reach out and get you started on the training and DMV and background checks. You can also call 1-800-227-2345 and choose option 4 to get started. The training is self-paced and new drivers can be on the road driving within 2 to 3 weeks. I am now going to pass it over to Denise Dunn, who has our call to action and ideas on how you can help.
Well, thanks, Mindy. I'm assuming everybody can hear me okay?
You're good, Denise.
All right, thanks. So as Mindy said, I am also a program manager. I have the Northeast Michigan, including the Thumb area, and Michigan's Upper Peninsula. So today, our call to action is driver recruitment. You can change the slide, Jess. There we go. So a good place to start is, who do you know personally? So although I may not know all of you personally, I'm going to start with inviting you. Would you consider giving one day, actually more like a part of a day, each month, maybe a few times a year, to help someone in your community with a ride to and from treatment? And after hearing Julie's story, I think we all want that experience. So give it some thought. You may be the person to help in your community. So who else do you know personally? Perhaps you know someone who's retired, a family member or a friend, someone who might be missing a little bit of structure. Maybe they're looking for a way to be a little more productive, or they just would benefit from helping someone in their neighborhood. Inviting them to become a Road to Recovery driver might just be what they are looking for. Do you know any seasonal workers? School teachers or construction workers? School teachers are excellent drivers. Usually they have a little more summer flexibility, and construction workers who get laid off in the winter are not normally frightened by Michigan's snow. What about college students? Do you know any college students? Often college students have alternating class schedules, and even their faculty do too. Sometimes they have part-time jobs, and our service match program makes it very easy for them to see when and where they can help cancer patients 1, 2, and even 3 times a month. And also keep in mind, Road to Recovery volunteers with the American Cancer Society. This looks very good on a resume. And what groups are you personally involved with? Why not consider presenting to your own groups? Extend the invitation at school PTOs, PTK groups, community service organizations, support groups, and clubs. Often the group leaders are looking for presenters. You may be helping them out. Besides, they get a presenter, your community gets a driver. It could be a win-win situation. How about a letter to the editor? This is a simple way to personally share the need for a volunteer driver specific to their own community. Another way to invite drivers, share the Road to Recovery opportunity in your church bulletin. A simple insert will make the ask for you. We have a driver, his name's Terry Sisson. He's in Saginaw County, and he stepped up to volunteer 8 years ago after reading an insert in his church bulletin. To date, Terry has provided over 1,100 rides in his own community. So do you, or maybe your spouse or a family member, work for a company who gives incentives for volunteering? The flexibility of Road to Recovery is excellent to volunteer just 1 day a month and earn those rewards. Social media. Who doesn't love social media? Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, they're all quick ways to reach a lot of friends and family in a short period of time. You can use your imagination, make it fun, or make it serious. However you do it, make it personable. Consider taking a picture of your car's empty front seat and making a fun post inviting your friends to use their empty car seat to take a cancer patient to and from treatment. Take Facebook Live to your streets. Share your community's need for volunteers drivers with a Facebook Live. Do it outside. Do it in the community where your followers can see their own local grocery store or post office. And then they can relate that there really is a need for volunteer drivers in their own community. And regularly check out the American Cancer Society in Michigan Facebook page to find Road to Recovery posts. You are welcome to share those with your followers. So driver recruitment, simply just invite where you live, where you work, and where you play. So we have resources available that can assist you. For social media, we have sample social media posts you are welcome to use. There are templates to help write that personal letter to the editor. And we have sample church bulletin inserts. They're the perfect size. Simply print, ask your place of worship to share them inside their bulletin. They also work well for handouts or to give to those at group presentations, and they provide short, concise information to be used in group newsletters. Available to you is a wide variety of flyers. Many of them are created with specific audiences in mind, including school teachers and college students. And if you have access, most of these materials are readily available on the American Cancer Society's brand toolkit. There's also Road to Recovery bookmarks and pamphlets that are excellent to share during a presentation. They list those driver requirements that Mindy talked about. They have the contact number to get started. And they also provide information on how patients and caregivers can request rides. Another excellent resource is your community's Mission Delivery Program Manager. Next slide, please. Mindy, Rachel, and me, we are your Michigan team. We have experience and we have knowledge about your county's individual transportation needs. In this slide you're seeing, it indicates each program manager, the county she serves, and her individual email address. We are delighted to share our experience and our knowledge, and we welcome your email if you have questions about your county or a specific county need or resource. Now it's going to be my pleasure to turn it back over to Jessica Schweihofer, Michigan Senior Manager, Mission Delivery.
Thank you, Denise. At this time, we're going to open up the floor for questions. Perhaps you wanted to learn a little bit more about what we've shared today, or it sparked a thought. If you've joined us by Skype, feel free to use the chat box, or if you prefer, you can use *6 to unmute yourself, whether you're on the phone or via Skype. Are there any questions at this time? I don't see anyone in the chat box. I'm typing away. I encourage you to reach out to your local program manager if you have other questions in the future. In the meantime, I just want to thank everyone for joining us today for this feature call. We'll actually, once a quarter, the Cancer Control Team is going to offer something similar. I believe we'll be talking about HPV in the fall and then lodging later on in fourth quarter as well. Thank you so much, Julie, for joining us and sharing your experiences as a driver. Oh my goodness, I think you've touched everyone's hearts today. I definitely got the feels with all of what you're providing for your patients, and then also the amazing part that they're doing some great things for you as well. Thank you, Mindy, Rachel, and Denise, for sharing all of your expertise. Again, don't be shy about reaching out to them. They are very knowledgeable about their local counties that they work with. There will be a duplication of today's call that will be offered next week on Thursday, June 20th. It will be at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, and so if you have additional volunteers that you would like to be able to join, please encourage them to do that. We will also recorded today's call as well, and a recording will be made available after today's presentation. So thank you so much for joining us. We welcome feedback, questions. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, everyone.